Hello and welcome to this tutorial. It's going to teach you exactly how to make a Indiana Jones-like movie poster using Photoshop. And I'm kind of new to Photoshop. I've self-taught myself, so if you see anything that can be easily fixed or done more easily, then feel free to mention it in the comments so I can get better and the people watching this can get better. Alright, so let's get started. The photos I used are from ThinkStock, and it's not a free site, but you can use whatever you like. The ones I got is Adventure Treasure Hunter with Vintage Globe, this stone block wall grunge texture and background XXXL, and this paper texture. It's not the same on ThinkStock, but it's still a very good one. Alright, so let's get started. This is a poster that I did for my teen group. It's not quite finished, but it's kind of what it's going to look like once we're finished with our own poster. You'll want to open up a new document with 1650 pixels by 2550 pixels at 300 resolution. I'm going to name my new document Indiana Jones Poster Photoshop Tutorial. Okay, so now you have your new document. You can get rid of this one over here because we don't need that. And you're going to want to pull up your Indiana Jones guy and select the entire photo, the background photo, do Command or Control C to copy, and Command or Control V to paste. It comes in kind of big, so you want to do Command Control T to transform, and you'll want to hold Shift as you grab from the corners and pull him down so he fits inside the canvas, just like that. Go ahead and label this layer Indie Original. Now we're going to want to get rid of all this white space. You can delete the background, but you still have some more white space to get rid of. And what we normally will do is take our magic wand tool and select all the white. Only problem is the background is also with his jacket, and we want to keep his jacket and get rid of the background. So what we're going to do is take the eraser. It doesn't really matter what size as long as it's full opacity, and you want to erase very carefully all the background that's touching the shine of his jacket. That way our tool doesn't get confused of what's background and what's person. Alright, once you finish that, you can go back to the magic wand tool and do Command or Control X to get rid of it, and same with that little piece down there. And then you have a little piece down here that you also have to get rid of. Command or Control X, Command or Control X, Command or Control X. Now you have a completely free background to work with. Next you want to do Command or Control J with the layer selected to duplicate it and label that one Indie. That way you don't have to worry about the original, and if you mess up you can always come back to the very original photo. Now if you've seen any Indiana Jones movies, you'll know that this guy's hat is not the correct color. So we're going to have to fix that. You zoom in, but like we did with the background, we can't take the magic wand tool because then it gets part of his face, and we don't want that. So we'll have to go and do it kind of the longer way around using the polygon tool. And zoom in real close and start over here in the corner and just start outlining the hat. I'm going to speed this video up a little bit because it does take a few minutes. When you have the whole hat selected, go ahead and do Control or Command X to get rid of it, and then Control or Command V to get back on as a separate layer. Line it back up on his head, and now you can work with it without affecting anything else. Go up to Image Adjustments and then Hue and Saturation. Change lightness down, saturation up, and leave the hue the same until it looks about the right color. And then press OK. After that, select the layer the hat's on and the Indie layer, and do Command or Control E to combine them and label it Indie. In every Indiana Jones poster, all the characters look like they're drawings instead of photos. So we're going to do that now. Take the indie layer and copy it twice by doing Command J and labeling the first copy indie color and the second one indie sketch. Once you have your layers organized, go up to Filter, Sketch, and then Photocopy to pull up this and make sure you've got 8 and 6 as your two numbers and press OK. Then again, go up to Filter and then Sharpen and click Sharpen More, and then do it again 2 more times, Sharpen More and Sharpen More. Then change your indie sketch layer to Overlay. Then go ahead and select your next layer, the indie color, and go up to Image Adjustments and click Hue and Saturation. Depending on your photo, your numbers will be different. But for me, I pushed the saturation up a little bit and the lightness down, and then I changed the hue to make it look more of a little reddish color. Then I went under yellows and took the saturation up pretty high. And you just have to kind of look to see which one's the best kind of combination you can get. And then you also have to take the lightness down a little bit and then make it more brown or red, depending on how you want it. Then go under reds and do the same thing. Play with the hue a little bit, push the saturation, and drop the lightness. And press OK. We can always go back to it if we need to, but that's looking pretty good. To get more of a yellow look on his face though, more of a yellow light, go ahead and click on the color layer and hit Ctrl or Command J to duplicate it. Rename this Indie Yellow or Indie Yellow Filter because we're going to select parts of his hands and his face to create more of that yellow look. Take your magic wand tool and select lots of the white parts and different spots on his face that you'll want to be able to make more yellow. Once you've selected everything you wanted, go over to your colors and pick a nice orangey yellow. Then go ahead and take your brush tool and make sure your opacity is fairly low and get your brush to be about the size you want it. Make sure it's soft and just start painting in the selected areas to create that sun yellow look. Next, you're going to go back to your indie layer and you're going to copy it with Ctrl or Command J and relabel it Indie Shadow. Do Ctrl or Command T to transform and shift and pull at the corners to pull out that layer so you can see it. Make sure it's under all the indie layers except the original. Go to Hue and Saturation once again and take the lightness all the way down until it's black. What you're going to do is try to frame your Indiana Jones character with a black background so it looks more like a big large pencil stroke. When you're going to have to pull to the sides a little bit so you can center a black border around most of his body. Alright, that's looking pretty good. So once you're done, hit the check mark. And then, now that you're finished with Indiana Jones for a while, select all of your indie layers that you've worked with so far. And you're going to make a group by doing Control or Command G, and then label that group Indie. You can go ahead and hide this group for a while because we won't need him until later. What we're going to work on now, though, is the border around the poster. So what we're going to need is our stone block wall again. Get rid of the text and select the background. Select it, Control or Command C and Control or Command V, and you'll be able to paste it onto your document. It comes in huge, so you're going to have to do Command or Control T and drag it so it fits realistically inside the canvas. Make it fit about halfway on the canvas so it doesn't have to be stretched too much. Go ahead and make sure that layer is selected, and then press Control or Command C to copy and then V to paste, and you're going to do Command T to transform, and then right click and click Flip Vertical, and that'll flip the entire image vertically. And what's nice about stone versus like faces is you can stretch it without it looking too horrible. So go ahead and you can stretch it to make it fit on the canvas without it looking too weird. Just like that. And then you can do it with the other one too. So it looks like one wall. Select the top part and the bottom part and make them one layer by doing Control or Command E, and then select it, Control X, and you can cut out the middle. So you just have the two walls on the side. Then do Control or Command V to get it back, because you will want to keep this piece. You just don't want it a part of the rest of the wall. Go ahead and hide it, and you'll want to separate the two walls so they're also on separate layers. So select it, and then cut it and repaste it. So now you have a right wall and a left wall. Go ahead and stretch both sides of the wall so you can get a little bit more of it to be visible. Make sure that it still looks like a wall. You don't want to stretch it too much. Do the same with the other wall. Make them about the same width. Once you're finished, label the right wall, and label the left wall, left wall. Then, for your cutout, just label cutout. Make your cutout visible again so you can see what you're working with, and select the top portion of your cutout. This is going to be your top and bottom wall. Control or Command X, and then V, and then place it at the top of your wall. And you can stretch it or whatever you want to make it fit. Then copy that wall by Command or Control C, and then Command and Control V. Then transform it, right click, and then flip vertical. This is going to be your bottom piece, and you're going to do the exact same thing. Fit it, place it, stretch it. Go ahead and label both the top and the bottom walls, top wall and bottom wall. Go ahead and copy your left wall twice, Command J, just like you did with Indiana Jones, and label the top one sketch and the middle one color. Make sure your colors are black and white, and then go and select your sketch layer and go under Filter, Sketch, and then Photocopy. Again, make sure it's 8 and 6, and change your layer to Overlay. Then make sure you copy 2 layers for every single wall and do the exact same thing. I'm going to speed this up because I've already explained exactly how to do this. Alright, I'm going to plop good old Indy back into the canvas as soon as I can find him. There he is. Put him in just to see how we're going. But his coloring and the rock coloring are two completely different lightings. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back through and make sure all the colors are correct. Just like we did with Indy, we go under hue and saturation, and boost the yellows, and take the hue to a reddish color, and then change the lightness dark. We do that with every one of them. And we also make sure we go under reds and do the same thing until you get a kind of a brownish, reddish, orange look with all the stone. I'm going to speed it up again because I've explained how to do this. Alright, so I tweaked Indiana Jones a little bit too, and I'm not liking the globe very much. So I'm just going to select his color layer and erase the whole color layer of the globe because I like the globe better as the original. Now we're going to do a little bit of organizing with our layers. What you need to do is go and select each wall group, the sketch, the color, and the regular wall, and you need to make each one of them a group. So, for example, top wall, all three, the sketch, the color, and the original, all go into a group called top wall. Do the same for the bottom wall, the right wall, and the left wall. After that, we're going to create a shadow layer, just like we did with Indiana Jones, for each portion of the wall. So take the bottom wall, copy it, and then go under hue and saturation and create that copy into a black layer. Then transform it and pull it out so you can just see the very edge of it on each wall. Do the same thing for every single wall. I'll speed through it because I've already explained it. So the shadows don't look weird. Make sure all the shadow layers are below the groups for your walls. You can even make them your own group called wall shadows if you want, as long as they're on the very bottom of all your other wall layers. As a last little bit of organizing, select all the wall layers you've ever done through this project and group them into one big group called walls. Now for the fun part. Drag your text box, and what font you're going to need is SF Fedora, which is the Indiana Jones font. It's a free font, and it's basically everywhere. And it looks like this. The subtitle font is also free, and it's either called SF Fedora Titles or, I believe, Movie Poster. Go ahead and type whatever movie title you want in the text box, and then select it all and change the spacing between the letters to about 40 and just make them more condensed. Then select the layer by right-clicking and click Create Shape because you don't want to work with the text, you want to work with the shape. Do Control or Command T to transform, and then click the warp button at the top of the screen, and then change from your default to your arc. It's way too archy, but we'll just have to mess with the controls. Bring it down some, the arc amount, until you think it looks appropriate. Then deselect the warp, and then hold the command button and start pulling at the sides of the transform, and you can make some sides wider than other sides. Make sure the A is larger than the S, or the I instead of the S if you're doing Indiana Jones. Once you have it where you want it, hold command and press the black and white circle at the bottom to create a gradient, and select the colors in order to get a nice bright red with a little bit of orange in it, and then yellow in the middle, and then white on the very end. By clicking the black or white buttons at the top, you can change the opacity to 100% and then press OK once you're finished. Change the light so it's coming from a completely opposite direction, so you have the red on top and the white on the bottom. And then press OK once you're finished. Convert the gradient to a smart object by clicking Command on the layer and then clicking Smart Object. Then transform it to squish it down to about the width of your letters. Then change the opacity real low so you can see what you're doing, and then drag it over top your real letters and have it fit the way you want it to. You might have to warp it a little bit to get it all to fit right. And you might have to play with it and pull it until it's right over top of the letters. Bring your opacity back up to 100% and then hold the Alt or Option key and click between that layer and the text layer for it to go alt and wrap around the text. Once you're finished, you'll want to click on your text layer and click on the effects at the bottom and pull up the drop shadow. You'll want to make your opacity 100% and your distance about 6. You'll also want your lighting to be facing to the right so the shadow is projected on the left. Then go to stroke and make your color black and your opacity all the way up and anything else you think needs to be done so you can have a nice black border around your letters. Add your subtext by using the font FS Fedora Titles or Movie Poster, whichever one you download, it's the same font, and then type in your title and make sure it's italicized and then give it a drop shadow with opacity 100% as well, and you've got your title. Okay, so I went ahead and added the background because I'm running out of time. The background is really all you do is you copy and paste it just like we've been doing, and then bring out its yellows a little bit in hue and saturation, and you're good. As long as it's on the bottom layer, you won't cover up anything else you need. I also stuck some text at the bottom if you want to keep doing a movie poster theme. All the film information goes on the bottom of a movie poster, and oftentimes things like the title goes on the top like this. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was somewhat possible to follow. If you are completely lost, I left some links in the description that helped me learn how to do this, and they might have a better way of explaining certain things. And again, if you see something that would be really a lot more efficient to do another way, let me know in the comments, and anybody else who would be watching this would greatly, me and everybody else would greatly benefit hearing that. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. Like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know if I'll ever do another one of these again, but we'll see. And hope you liked it.